Welcome in, everyone, to the Bourbon and Bullshit podcast, the show where we have you join us at the table for a few drinks, a couple of friends, and of course some BS. Now, today is a very special episode because we are doing things a little bit different today. In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, we will be sipping on rum. I know. You tuned into a show for bourbon-inspired fun, but today we're doing rum. Sorry, guys. It's a little bit of a special month. It's honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. And I want to make sure that we speak a little bit about a bottle that is inspired by bourbon. More specifically, Brugal's Colección Visionario Edición Número 1, or the first edition of the Visionary Collection. So if you stuck with us this far, be patient. I promise you it will be worth it. I mean, either way, it's my show, so I can break the rules if I want to. Now let's get right into it. I'm going to give you a little bit of history and background of the brand Brugal. It is Dominican rum, because if you did not know, I'm Dominican. I'm a little biased, so we're going to go to something I'm familiar with and I love. I really hope that you guys enjoy it too, and you guys give it a shot after everything is all said and done. So, the brand was founded by Don Andres Brugal Montaner in 1888. In 1897, Don Andres settles in Puerto Plata, drawn to the natural beauty and wonder of the Dominican Republic. If you haven't been there, crystal clear waters, plenty to drink, and everyone's partying all the time. But honest to God, it's gorgeous and you should go there sometime. Brugal then created the first Largo y Limpio, the purest spirit, the first Dominican rum not to add aguardiente. So he's already kind of trendsetting and doing his thing. Leading into 1920 when Brugal crafts its first golden aged rum. This is the beginning of the 100-year legacy of cask aging expertise in this process. They keep developing this over the years in different techniques and different builds. But if you did not know, a key difference between rum and bourbon is its build. Rum is distilled using sugarcane, giving it a sweeter finish and much more unique flavor profile. And as if you don't know, bourbon uses a combination of wheat. So barley, wheat, rye, corn, just different mash builds will give you a different flavor profile. Brugal is obviously going to be a little bit different. It's a rum. Different for a reason, right? Then in 1940, Brugal applies the iconic netting that many of you see on these bottles. It's a simple yet bold design and it has become part of the signature look and it set itself apart from its competitions. So you don't see that necessarily in a Bacardi, Captain Morgan, or Parapet or whatever those not as good rums are. Sorry guys, I have my opinions. I'm entitled to them. Now, we fast forward a little bit. And in 1976, their signature run of Extra Viejo, or extra mature, is created by Brugal's third generation, exploring aging their rums in white American oak casks. Now we're heading towards a direction where it's inspired by bourbon. Fast forward to 2008, Brugal & Co. announces its association with the leading Scotch malt whiskey producer Edrington. They are obviously going in the direction that we want to be at, right? Giving you whiskey finishes, already using a white American oak casks. This is getting right. In 2010, Brugal releases his 1888 collection. It's created and launched. This is the very first Dominican rum double-aged in American and Spanish oak casks. If you have not had this, it is not super expensive, but it's so delicious. It gives it a very refined, high-end bourbon taste, especially because it's finished overall in a sherry cask, so it's going to give you a sweeter finish, which stays true to its rum roots, but it is still inspired by bourbon. Brugal 1888 is then awarded a gold medal, and Brugal, the company itself, is awarded Dominican Rum Distillery of the Year by the prestigious New York International Spirits Competition. Now, we fast forward to 2023, where they released their Colección Visionario Edición 1. This, first of its kind, is a super unique take by one of the youngest rum masters, Yasel Villanueva. We're going to touch a little bit more on her later on, but she is a visionary, and I'm excited to see what else she has. Now, without any further ado, here's the show. Enjoy, guys. We have a tattoo together. We're going to start with Norby. Good friend of the show, has been here from the beginning. You might recognize his sweet, sweet voice from the Full Frontal Nerdy show, as he's been a repeat guest there a couple times. And if you follow him on Twitch, Shinorby is a fantastic streamer. Norby, what's up, man?
How's it going? Glad to be here. Glad to be a part of this.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for hopping in here with us. And next is John, a good friend of the show, been on the Full Frontal Nerdy show, does not Twitch stream or anything because he's constantly running from his problems or just running in general. John, welcome in, buddy. How are you today?
Hey, what's good? How you doing?
Hey, what's good? How are you doing? Hey, John, thanks for coming in, guys. So for those who have listened to the show before, we like to start a little bit different. So today we warmed up ourselves a little bit with a cocktail. We ended up making a double rum aged Manhattan, which is a little bit of a riff on a traditional Manhattan using bourbon. This one features the Brugal Collection Visionario, some creme de banane dry vermouth, and some bruleed bananas as a garnish. It's actually a really unique drink, but we're going to go ahead and sip on that and kind of get to know each other a little bit better. We're going to start with you, Norby. What do you do? What have you been entertaining yourself with recently? What's been keeping you busy while you sip on a little bit of drinks?
Well, like probably the majority of any of the gaming world right now, I've been diving into Starfield.
Skyrim in space.
Yes. What was it? It's Starfield and a bunch of other names that's been given to it. So I've been having a blast with that. Honestly, for like watching purposes, I've been going back on a lot of stuff because with the strikes and everything going on, a lot of new stuff coming out. So I've been going back through catalogs and like watching either stuff I've been meaning to watch or just rewatching stuff. For example, Supernatural. I watch it at least once a year. All 15 seasons.
Wait.
Ass butt.
You watch the full season from beginning to end once a year?
Yes.
How many episodes are in a season?
Well, it changes. I think when they first started, it was like about 20-something. Because remember, it's 15 seasons, so. Mm-hmm. So I think when towards the end, it started getting more towards like the teens. So there's a few. There's a few.
So you would say on average, let's say 13 episodes a season.
There are 327 episodes of Supernatural.
There are 327 episodes of Supernatural. That makes no type of damn sense. But is it that good of a show? Well, John, you've watched it before.
I say the first 5 to 6 seasons are real good. Eric Kripke stayed for the first 5 seasons. The creator.
Oh, okay.
He did The Boys.
Yeah.
So that's why you see some of the characters from Supernatural on The Boys because he created that. So I say the first 5 or 6 seasons were really good. Mm-hmm. You get Lilith and all that stuff, and then there's seasons here and there that are great. But those first 5 or 6 they hit different.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag with the later seasons.
But is it because that creator left and like did it just start feeling like fillers? Because I feel like a show that goes that fucking long is just.
It wasn't necessarily fillers. I think it was more of like they're trying to find their own direction to take the story in. And then that's where like things like the biggest, I think, gap in the coherency of everything was the Leviathans for everyone.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I like that a little bit better than the Men of Letters. Like
true.
All of a sudden they have that. They just canceled the prequel.
They did, yeah.
Oh, the Winchester sisters or whatever?
The Winchesters. Yeah,
Winchesters.
How the parents met, and then Dean was somehow in the show.
Yeah, because like it was like supposed to be a flashback of like him learning about his parents. So like it was him kind of like learning about them, and then in that like that's where the episodes were coming from.
That is
but then he's actually in it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It got canceled. So
okay, that makes a lot of sense. Why it got canceled. Real quick about this drink. What do you guys think so far? Does it taste like it's whiskey, or does it taste like?
Honestly, if you did not tell me it was rum, I would probably think it was whiskey.
Yeah, man. That's what I like about this run, right? So it tastes chocolatey. It tastes just whiskey, like bourbonish. It's unique. What's really funny about this recipe is because I was looking for like bourbon recipes where rum could be, swapped into, and I just ended up rummaging around and found this. It has a banana liqueur. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting it would be straight fucking sugar and diabetes in a cup. So we had to find a higher end one because all the other ones, all the ratings are like 5-star because it's $10.
Yeah.
It's like basically 99 bananas. But I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, definitely not 99 bananas. This is very, very tasty, very smooth. I could definitely drink a few of these a night and it would be a problem.
It might be a problem by the end of the show. Anything else you've been watching that's newer or more recent, more like something you have?
I would say for me, the newest thing I'm watching is Justified Primeval, that Primeval CD.
Oh, they brought that. Is that a sequel or prequel?
It's a sequel.
It is a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it literally starts out with him like driving his daughter, who's obviously grown at that point, to like some kind of like reform school or something like that.
Okay.
And he's like driving through Florida, of course, and stupid stuff happens there.
Why are all the problems in these new shows in Florida?
man.
Bro, I
love how there's so many shows just about like the ridiculousness of Florida, because there's literally Florida Man, which I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Oh, I've seen that show.
Yeah, that one's really good.
I was surprised by
And then
that show.
Killing It. Have you seen that one yet?
No, what's Killing It about?
Killing It is the one where they are doing the snake competition, the hunting down snakes in the Everglades and making money.
Yes, you were telling me about that.
What
Yes.
the fuck?
Yes.
Is it like is it a reality show or is it a
No, it's a sitcom
Okay.
like kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's on Peacock, I want to say.
That sounds like a Peacock show.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
But yeah, that one's hilarious as well. But again, it's just funny, like all the crazy shit in Florida is just influencing all these shows now.
I mean, all the crazy shit in Florida is what influenced a whole website, a whole web series, a whole hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
You could look up hashtag Florida Man right now, and I'm curious how many fucking shares there are with that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they've already stated why Florida Man's such a prevalent thing.
Yeah.
So,
No, tell the people, because I remember.
so it's because of how open our information laws are. That like pretty much anytime someone gets arrested, it's like literally just right there, open public domain. So it's so easy for news articles to be spun up about crazy stuff, because literally like the next morning it's right there available for them. So they just like look up stuff real quick and be like, all right, that's crazy enough. I'm making an article about this shit.
I remember finding out because of my job, my previous job, there was an employee that was no longer with us. And I said, "Oh, they got into a little bit of trouble." I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like they said, "Look, I can share the arrest about." I was like, "How do you have access to this?" They're like, "It's Florida. You just fucking type their name. Everything's right there for everyone to see." It was like a it was a white collar crime, embezzling or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, that's white collar. Yeah.
Yeah, so I quickly went down that rabbit hole of just like, I'm going to go look up every one of the people I don't like. So I was there for a while, and unfortunately did not see as many people as I hoped, but it is what it is. John, what about you? What's been keeping you entertained as of late? I know that you stay busy. You've been traveling. Most recently, you got engaged. Congratulations, you jackass.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
don't know
that.
if you she owes the mob money, and that's how you got away with this, but congrats.
Yeah. Shout out to Silvana for putting up with me. She's definitely a 10 out of 10. What keeps me entertained? So it depends on what I'm doing. So when I'm running or driving, I listen to a few podcasts. But I also listen to some audiobooks. So I'm listening to Running While Black right now. And it's about this lady named Allison and like her journey in like New York, and how she created the Harlem Run Club, and how running isn't inclusive in the actual history of running, and how long distance running actually started with black people, but you think it's like more of a white sport, because when you think of running long distance, you don't necessarily think, besides like Ethiopians and Kenyans, you don't necessarily think of like black Americans or Hispanic people. You think more like sprinting, and it's her whole journey about it. She actually narrates the story herself. Very, very powerful. I just started watching Wrestlers on Netflix, and it's
About this podcast, though.
Yeah.
Like, so how is it? Like seasons of it? Like how long has it been
well,
going?
this is just an audiobook.
Oh, sorry.
I listened to some other stuff, but like this is an audiobook.
Sorry, I misheard. Sorry.
I did say that I was listening to some podcasts, but I listened to like a lot of Latino USA and Latino Rebel stuff, and Code Switch from NPR. So it's stuff like about the culture. You know, I listened to this one episode about, they talk about like D&D and how it's like not inclusive for women and for people of color. It's very interesting. Since we play D&D a lot, I found that very interesting. Wow. And then obviously I watch Ahsoka. I just saw episode 5. Arguably the best Star Wars media that's out right now is that.
Really? Right. Out right now, or in general, since all the TV shows?
I would say it's arguably one of the top 3 things I've ever seen Star Wars wise. Episode 5 specifically of Ahsoka.
If you had to rate the TV shows, where would it rank? Would it rank between
Like so
Mandalorian-
seasons?
No, just the shows that are currently the Disney Plus Star Wars series.
I would probably say, since Ahsoka's not done,
Okay.
I would say Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I didn't finish Andor. I know Andor's really good. I would say Andor, and then Book of Boba Fett would be last.
Right, you're not throwing Obi-Wan anywhere there?
Oh, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like-
sorry.
I was about to say, I was like, it'd be Obi-Wan and it'd be...
I say
like,
okay, so Obi-Wan will be 3 then.
Okay.
Obi-Wan was really good. Yeah, Mandalorian just hits different, but Ahsoka, I think when it's done, will probably be my favorite. And then Wrestlers on Netflix. It's about OVW. It's a independent wrestling company run by Al Snow, former WWE wrestler. Just watched the first episode of that.
Remind me who Al Snow is.
He's the guy that had the mannequin head that said head.
Mm-hmm.
when we were growing up.
Yes.
And it would say, "I want some head," and he would hit people with this plastic head, and people think he would knock them out.
I remember that.
But Al Snow runs that. It's like, it's a documentary about like independent wrestling and how they're trying to be successful. And I think it's actually in Kentucky, even though it's called Ohio Valley Wrestling. It's very interesting. I saw the first episode of that, and that was and then when I want to just watch garbage, I watch Customer Wars on Hulu.
What the fuck is
And
Customer Wars?
it's a bunch of videos of like a lot of Florida videos of customers acting out of pocket in places. And me and Silvano would just watch that when we just want nonsense. And it's on Hulu, so Customer Wars. It's just basically a bunch of YouTube videos.
What's the wildest one you've seen?
I don't know, man. They're all out of pocket.
What's one that stands out?
Yeah, like first one come to mind.
A bear walking into a convenience store and the guy trying to get the bear out in California.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like an actual bear just walks in, and it actually happens multiple times until they actually capture the bear.
What? He's a repeat offender. He just kept showing up to the
customer.
store?
He likes Snickers.
Was he showing up with money at least?
No, he would just go grab food and eat
Does
it.
that count as a customer war?
Exactly.
I mean, so I guess he was like, hey, boo boo, like Yogi was just coming in there. So
God damn, I
pretty
did not know that show existed.
Yes, I found it on Hulu, so it's interesting. Customer Wars, highly recommended.
I'm gonna have to put that down somewhere. So for me recently, Jesus, now I'm all into it now. Aside from obviously you walk by, you're the significant other, they're watching trash TV, they're watching some bullshit. She was watching, it was some dating show where I got caught up in it, and I was like, that guy's, she was watching The Bachelorette. And I think that aired and done. I think it was done, but she was catching up. She's like me. I don't want to watch anything live because I don't want to wait till the next episode or something. I want to be able to just binge it whenever the fuck I feel like it. She was watching that and got caught up. And I'm like, are we not rooting for this guy? Because she was very passionate about it. I was like, no, Trevor's terrible. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's that. Fuck Trevor. Why are we mad at Trevor?
Yeah.
It's just tries to fill me in.
Fuck Trevor, I guess.
Fuck Trevor, I guess. I don't know who the fuck that is.
You know what he did.
I know what he did. Aside from that, two most recent things I watched, I want to bring this up because spooky season is always in my heart, but is, I guess, around the corner for everyone else. This movie called Boogeyman. Or The Boogeyman, and they only really say The Boogeyman one time in the movie. It was based off of a short story by Stephen King, because that man is constantly churning out content. He's always putting something out. What's unique about this movie is that it was supposed to be one of those straight to streaming services one. It was directed by Rob Savage. I don't know who the fuck that is. Don't care. But Rob Savage, I could look it up. I've never seen this man in my life. But he apparently made the movie Host-Cam, Dawn of the Deaf, Salt.
Host is good.
Yeah, Host was very good. But dude so this movie, what was unique about it, like I said, was supposed to be straight to streaming services. And I guess the editors were putting it together and said, holy shit, this is way too creepy. We should probably make some money off of this. And there were some genuinely creepy moments in this movie, and it didn't wait to build up to anything. You start the movie with creepy moments. And it's like the boogeyman is you're highlighting a therapist. Him and his two daughters, they lost he lost his wife recently, their mom, and they're coping with it. He's running away from it. The daughter's trying to kind of still hold on to the mother, idolize her, and the youngest kid is scared of the dark. Has string lights all over her room, whatever. It gets really genuinely really, really interesting. Definitely worth checking out, but I enjoyed it.
What's it on?
Nothing that you should find it on, but you could buy it on iTunes right now. Right, it's on iTunes, Apple, so you could go ahead on there. Hashtag not a sponsor, but if they want to throw me some free movies, I'll talk about it. And last but not least, because I have been so rooting for this guy to be successful, it was the new John Cena movie, the one about best friends. The one where him...
Oh, the sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, the Vacation Friends, isn't there?
Yeah, Vacation Friends. Yep, Vacation Friends 2.
Yep, I just watched that one also.
Yes. And I did not... I love John Cena. I hate to say this. I like him better than The Rock. In comedy movies, at least. John Cena, I love Peacemaker. Peacemaker was fucking fantastic. I loved him in that. Where the one where he was the sisters, Tina Fey and the other lady, where he was a drug dealer talking about Flintstone vitamins. That was the first time I was like, we might have something here. We might have a really genuinely funny actor in John Cena. We don't know it. But they bring in Steve Buscemi, Lil Ray Howery, whatever, and Carlos Santos. I don't know why that name is so goddamn Hispanic generic. But it's on Hulu. We checked it out last night. I was supposed to stream early, but Rosetta put that on. What pisses me off is that Rotten Tomatoes has it at 20%. I hate you, Rotten Tomatoes.
Is it the critic score or user score?
It's the critic score.
Okay, yeah, that's why.
Critic score says 20%. And I'm like, you fuckers.
That's not surprising.
The average audience score is only 41.
Oh, well, that's surprising.
Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Not everyone can be as cultured as us. But overall, a really funny movie, fun to check out. And obviously, I was drinking during it, so it might have inflated those scores. Aside from that, nothing really. But guys, we are going to take our first water break, and we will be back to talk a little bit more about this Brugal. We finished our cocktail, so we need a refill. So I'm not going to lie to you, it's not going to be water, but we'll be right back. Hey guys, while you're listening to the show, I know that you guys want to join in a little bit with us and pouring something up. Here at the show, we ask that you guys drink responsibly and do the right thing. Don't drink and drive. Avoid Amazon one-click buying, and I promise you, you do not need to text your ex. But all jokes aside, do the right thing, don't be dumb, and be safe. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, so we're back from our water break. Hopefully you guys got a little bit more hydrated. We got a little bit more inebriated, so it's about even. And hopefully during that water break, you did not text your ex or hit up the Amazon one-click buy. Don't forget that drunk you does not align with sober you's budget, so stop it. Stop it. We talked a little bit more about the Ahsoka show, episode 5. John's going to expand a little bit later on about it as we talk about it. But I did want to give you guys a little bit more history on the specific bottle of Brugal Colección Visionaria. One of the unique things, guys, that I found out, and I'm going to we talked about it a little bit, but did you know that the current master... Well, the current rum master, or as the Google Translate told us, was Maestra Ronera. Like El Cuchi Cuchi. Her name is Jacel Villaverna. She is one of the youngest female rum masters ever in the industry, and she's been doing this. She's a 4th generation from the Brugal family. This is her first, not first, Brugal 1888, one of my favorite, where she took over and started making a little bit more bourbon forward. Bourbon tasting was her first her influence. And now this visionary collection, which is edition 1, is hers from beginning to end, and it has been fantastic. Now, Inside the Cask did a very, very in-depth interview with her. So if you want to check it out, I'll put it in the show notes. But she is insanely interesting. And all I think about is that I wish I got into this industry way, way younger in my life. Because it sounds like a very fulfilling and genuinely enjoyable industry. She says, so when I see someone that admires the Dominican Republic or knows about it being the country of Brugal rum, I feel an indescribable pride. This is what I love about making our rum. I love it. I love everything. I love all about her passion. And because it is Hispanic Heritage Month, yes, I will linger here for a little bit. But we are going to go ahead and talk a little bit about, because, John, you didn't go deep enough for me to understand why you liked episode 5 of Ahsoka. And by the time this drops, it won't be a spoiler, so fuck them.
So I'll say spoiler just in case. But if you love Hayden Christensen, and if you love the prequels, especially Revenge of the Sith, and if you love Clone Wars and Rebels, there's no reason you shouldn't be watching Ahsoka. And Episode 5 has Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Anakin. They obviously use a CGI to de-age him. And if you've watched Rebels, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Ahsoka's in the world between worlds, and she sees Anakin, and he's there to finish her training and get her ready. And you see flashbacks, and they show a live-action Rex and clone troopers, and you see a young Ahsoka. I think the actress that played young Ahsoka was the girl from the Barbie movie, the daughter. But it was really good because you really Hayden Christensen, he can act his ass off, and he doesn't get the credit because he had bad writing and bad directing. But now that he has good writing and directing, you really see the passion he has for Anakin Skywalker, and you can really see how much not having Ahsoka in his life really affected him. Because obviously in the movies, this is, they did Clone Wars after the fact, the cartoon and stuff. But Ahsoka really, if you take the whole Padme stuff and Ahsoka, that really affected him. And Ahsoka, leaves in the show, and then he doesn't have her anymore, and that's his Padawan. And you see scenes where he's Darth Vader and scenes where he's Anakin. And the scenes where he's Anakin, he has people. And the scenes where he's Darth Vader, he doesn't have anybody. And the parallels, and they show it. He's walking through smoke, and then all of a sudden he turns into Darth Vader, and you see him by himself. And it's just so like tragic, like the story of Anakin and all these prequels and all these extra things they've added have really added to the story. So if you don't like Anakin, you don't like the prequels, then I can't vibe with you because this new stuff is still considered prequels.
Yep.
It hits.
I gotta ask you now. I know that obviously we just discussed that he's got a lot of grief. Christensen about like his role and the bad writing and everything. Do you think on top of this, it was kind of his redemption story? Like they wanted to. Sorry about that. They wanted to make sure that he got his like level set and told people like, hey, no, this isn't my fault. I'm great. Or the company or Star Wars felt like they owed him something. Do you think that kind of part of the reason why they made sure they brought him specifically back and didn't rewrite him or write someone else in?
I think you have to because he's the right age. You have to bring him back, and you have to let him like be in some good stuff. Dave Filoni, who's handpicked by George Lucas to like do Star Wars, he knows Star Wars. And he knows the characters, and he knows how to write it and direct it in a way where like Hayden Christensen, like after 17 years, can come back and play this role, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, and it's a thing like they're going to stick by their people, right? They're going to they're not going to rewrite the character of Anakin to be someone else to like come in and play it. And on top of that, like especially I feel like most recently with him like Hayden coming back and like showing up in like celebrations and stuff like that, like he's been getting an outpouring of love from the fans there. So it's not a situation where like I don't think it's that he's like reviled by the community or anything. Like people love him.
Yeah.
You know, they know the situation that he was put in.
Yeah.
But they still love him for what he did.
He hates sand.
Yes.
He hates sand.
You know, that's a good joke.
But, and I get it. But, you know, we back in previous conversations, we've talked about like all like fandom has a possibility to be toxic or can be toxic or can be dangerous. So like, that's why I was just curious. I'm like, if it felt like, hey, we should redeem him and that will maybe turn those people who might have not loved his portrayal of Anakin, and maybe they change their mind about why he turned the way he did. Or okay, all right, we understand. We'll give him another shot because it's hard for these fucking fans to. What is it? The kid from Joffrey, he had to stop acting.
Yeah,
he said
well,
he
that was different though.
But he didn't say in the middle. He had to like be careful because when people saw him, he didn't want to appear in anything because they reacted in a way like, you know, I'm not, that character's not real.
That's the thing though. Like, they didn't hate him for like,
how he did portray.
Yeah. It's not like how he portrayed or like
fair.
They thought he did a shitty job, but they just hated him because he did so well at being that guy.
He was such a good actor.
Fair. But I think it's just kind of.
But it was toxic. He had
an evidence of where fandom could be toxic in one way or
100%. And we know Star Wars fandom can be toxic. We already know that.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Well, this is the second episode in a row we talk about Star Wars, so we're going to move on a little bit and kind of go to something else. So in the vein of Hispanic Heritage Month, I tasked these two fellas with giving us something that stands out. So I will give you a little context here. We talk about la cultura, the culture. So as a Dominican dude from the hood, there are things that are normal to me that when I tell my friends here in Florida, they look at me like I'm wild. Like it is crazy. Like the fact that I have a machete by my front door because, you know, you never know. My mom keeps all of her important documents under her mattress, including my birth certificate, social security number, and any legal files that I've had to translate for her because I'm the main person who spoke English. Shit is comical to me, but it made me just think about like, hey, while we're celebrating some of the cool things, let's celebrate some of the funny things or some of the unique things. So we're going to start with Shin or Norby. Tell us something, la cultura, something that stood out to you, and tell me the story about when you dawned on you that it was not like everyone else's life.
Well, I'm going to start with some small stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we have small stuff like, God, I was at least until I moved out on my own, the dishwasher, obviously, right?
Bruh.
Growing up, the dishwasher was, you know, just
drying rack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, you wash it by hand, you put it in there and let it dry in the dishwasher. That's what it was for.
Drying rack. 100%. Yeah.
So it wasn't until I moved out and like I saw people using it, I'm like, wait, that's what it's for?
Oh my God. You know what's the craziest thing is I didn't even know a dishwasher was like real. I heard of it, you know, like in this New York City, you have limited space. You're not adding a fucking dishwasher. But when we got one, we didn't know what the fuck to do with it because we never used it. And for some reason in our minds, it used an ungodly amount of water. That's a waste. It doesn't get anything clean. So it didn't fucking make sense. But yeah, man, that's normal. To me, it's normal. And I remember, have you bought one recently? Well, just to think about it.
No, I've never actually had to buy one. I've just been able to move into places with one.
We were at a store. We were at Best Buy, hashtag no sponsor. And we were like buying Black Friday shit. So we're buying like a new range. And I look at my girlfriend. I was like, hey, we should buy a dishwasher. She's like, for what? Why would we ever use that? I was like, look, dishwasher in our house looks atrocious. If anything, it's at least for aesthetics. Like, can we get one that matches the rest of our shit? She's like, no, it seems like a waste. We'll never use it. It's like, fine, move on. I don't even know if that fucking thing works. I haven't opened it in 16 years. I have no idea what's wrong with it.
Yeah, like I know the one that it's in our house right now. Like that one I'm actually using. That's probably like the one I first properly used as a dishwasher.
Now, when you had that conversation, I'm sure that conversation came up with your wife when the first time you used it. What did she say?
Oh no, it was definitely a situation where like, yeah, it was, you know, she like turned it on. I'm like, but what are you doing? We just wash it by hand and put stuff in there to dry. Like, this seems like a waste of money. Yeah.
She's like, oh, honey.
But yeah, that's like my first, like, I would say little one. The other one was like, I don't know if it's a culture thing or if it's just more like my mom. But I know like when it comes to cooking, when I cook, I always overcook way too much. So like I'll cook and I have like at least like 3 days worth of leftovers because that's how I was used to her cooking. I figured this is how you're supposed to do it, right? Make just like a bunch of beans, a bunch of rice, a bunch of chicken, like anything I'm cooking enough that I'm feeding like I'm feeding a small like feast.
That's definitely the culture.
See, that's what, and I was never really sure about that, but like I feel like it's a culture thing, but I can't be 100% sure.
As the residential chunky dude at this table, I can confirm this is a cultural thing. John, you say culture? Your family cook like that?
Definitely. I love my mom, but my mom can't cook. I said that. My sister.
Oh, you know she's a
that's fine.
She's a Patreon on this show.
My
man.
sister Aisha can really cook. But even growing up, like they would make too much food. My grandma would make too much food, all the time. And even when I first started like living on my own and cooking for myself, I'm like, yo, why am I making so much food? It's just me. And same thing with the dishwasher. Until I got my own place, I never used it. I was like, what is this? It's a drying rack. I grew up, and then literally now I use it all the time, and I wonder how I never used it.
Yep.
And then to feed into that, an oven being storage space,
yes.
but not like the drawer underneath.
No.
The actual oven being drawer space, like space to store things. So when you got to cook, for me, there was always a thing of oil.
Yep.
Inside the oven, and then also just like 80,000 things in the oven that you have to take out. So you can't just like preheat the oven. You have to like take things out of the oven. And then and then you're allowed to use it. And I learned that the hard way growing up. I almost lit the house on fire because the grease was in there.
What?
Oh yeah.
You didn't know? Your mom didn't yell at you immediately anytime you tried to do that?
She definitely yelled at me because I was like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Why is this hot?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm trying to make something." She goes, "First thing, why are you using an oven? The second thing, did you take everything out of the oven?" I'm like, "Why is there stuff in the oven?"
Yep. I mean, to be fair, I still have a shit ton of stuff in my oven right now.
I only have it underneath the drawer. I've learned now.
Do you know what that drawer is supposed to be used for?
The warmer.
It's
exactly.
A warmer.
It's like a bread warmer.
That's weird.
And I only know that because of fucking TikTok.
Yeah.
Shout out to TikTok.
Shout out to the internet teaching me more than my family did. Listen, I can confirm right now, if you walk to my kitchen, there is shit in my oven. It has no business being in that oven. But where the fuck am I going to store 14 pots and pans that apparently my household... I don't.
So I've
learned...
You
know why I have 14 pots and pans?
I've learned not to have so many pots and pans.
Do you know why I have 14 pots and pans?
Because you have a Dominican girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Do you know what I had prior to the Dominican girlfriend?
You have one pot and pan.
Oven space?
What? Yes. Oven space, one pot, one pan. Life was so much simpler. I love you. Life was so much simpler.
Shout out to
I didn't have to
Rosanna.
look. I didn't have to hold one up. Can I use this?
Yeah.
Is this for the future? Why do we have a future
The oven
pan?
space thing became apparent to me when I was over at a white friend's house.
Yeah.
They opened it up. I'm like, where's all your stuff? And they're like, what are you talking about? And they open up like a cabinet and there's your like cooking sheets and pots and
put
pans.
it
Like,
in the
you have
cabinet.
space there for that?
Yeah.
But where's your Tupperware?
Up here.
You mean the red stained Tupperware?
Yep.
Yeah, you mean like the butter containers
Yep.
that we save, the little Chinese to-go stuff that we save.
Oh, my God.
That's also, and I don't think that's necessarily, that is technically cultural things, but like a lot of people do that too.
Yeah. Well, that's struggle with Tupperware.
Struggle Tupperware. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, we keep a sewing kit in a Royal Dance cookie
Royal
tin.
Dance cookie. Oh, shout out to Royal Dance.
For the record, I've had probably a decade worth of those tins in my house before I ever tried one of those cookies. I have no idea where we got these tins from, but I never had one fucking cookie. All I just know is that we had these tins everywhere.
I just remember I could only trust the tins to have cookies during Christmas. Any other time of the year, sewing stuff.
Shit.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yo, that's actually 100% factual. That actually hurts my soul a little bit. But that's funny because I definitely agree, man. I think that is cultural because I do it to this day. If I walk in my mom's house right now and I say, hey, I need to bake something, there's going to be a 25-minute process of unloading everything, covering the kitchen table with shit we don't need, and then I could use the oven. I can't use a bread warmer.
No, that's full of stuff.
That's full.
Yeah, no. Wait, and bread warmer, like who does that?
Who warms bread? Who's baking
Apparently, you're
bread?
supposed to like the like dinner rolls that you get from like the freezer aisle or whatever. I guess you like put them in there.
No,
What?
I don't know.
I'm not doing that.
Is that a thing?
I guess.
We are going to get some comments about this because us three are ignorant to this. Who is buying frozen dinner rolls and using the what?
I would like to see this. There's a video somewhere. Probably we need to watch this. And learn.
Somewhere on TikTok.
It's a deep fake. John, what about you? La cultura. What's unique about your culture? You found out fucking randomly through a conversation. The motherfuckers had no idea this is normal.
I think it was like later in life because I grew up in a lot of like low income communities. Shout out to Americana and Texas Ave over here in Orlando. I grew up in a lot of like lower income communities, so it wasn't necessarily weird until I started when we started moving on up. When my mom started making more money, and I was in areas that wasn't necessarily just black and brown people. I started talking about the stuff that I ate, and I was actually talking to my fiance the other day, and one of her friends thought it was interesting that we eat rice for Thanksgiving. And I guess
Is that not normal?
Apparently eating rice for Thanksgiving isn't normal. It's a staple for us for almost every meal. So we have rice. So I've never went to Thanksgiving and didn't have rice. And then also drinking Malta was
like in general, or
like drinking Malta in general. People thought it was weird, but obviously it's an acquired taste.
It is.
So
that was like a treat, though.
Yeah, and then my oldest friend Blaine, he's white. He grew up with me, and he's one of the only white people I know that drink Malta because he grew up with me. He would be in my house, and he would just drink it. And then other people thought it was weird that he was drinking Malta, right? And Malta, for those that you don't know, it's a malt beverage, non-alcoholic. If
Very
you've never,
sweet.
it's very sweet. If you've never had it, it's probably going to be disgusting for you. But people thought that was weird. And then I guess something that
before you move on from Malta,
Yeah.
I need to ask something. Have you ever had Malta with like condensed milk? I've seen people do that. Yes.
No.
So they take the thick condensed milk, pour it with Malta, and like whip it. It's almost I've seen
So is it like a malt milkshake is what they're trying to make or something?
Exactly.
I could see.
I have seen
Actually,
people do that.
You saying malt milkshake, that makes sense. I like malt milkshakes.
I've seen people do that, and I'm like, I'm lactose intolerant, but that looks fucking delicious. And I've tried a sip, and it's good.
Can we do that?
But we could 100% do that. Someone get Malta. Like we could do that. But then I started seeing people like Cuban restaurants do that with their coffee. They use sweetened condensed milk.
That I've seen, yeah.
But when I saw it, the first version of it was with Malta, and I was thrown the fuck off. I felt like this is this is why we have the most health concerns.
Yes.
as people.
I don't know how much has changed, but yeah, you got to remember, what was it, Hispanic males most likely to live the longest, but also the most health issues.
Yeah,
We're here to party all the time.
we're here for a good time, not a long time, but we're also stubborn.
We're stuck.
We're also stubborn.
Yeah, exactly.
Very stubborn. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is this? A 10, and I'm in pain every day.
But don't worry, there's no blood.
I guess the other thing would be, I just popped in my head, empanadas. Like, I've actually had people, I'm like, oh, I eat this on the regular, and they're like, what is this? I'm like, it's an empanada. Like, what? So then I had to one time explain what an empanada was to somebody, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I said it was like an apple turnover, but with a meat. And I want you to really think about what I just said. An apple turnover with meat, right?
Okay.
One time I said it was like a Jamaican patty, and they were like,
I was going to go beef patty.
That's the one I usually get. Like when I try describing like
Yeah.
empanada to someone, they're like, "Oh, you mean like a Jamaican beef?" And I'm like, "Kind of."
So I said a patty one time, and they didn't know what I was talking about. And then I said like a turnover, and they're like, "Oh, with meat." They're
Hand
like,
pie.
"Oh,
Yeah.
yes." So it's basically like
Hand pie.
It's basically a hand pie, and I almost threw up because it made me very upset that I had to explain what an empanada was. We live in Central Florida. We have a lot of Hispanic people, a lot of people from the Caribbean and Central and South
They have
America.
them at Publix, for God's sake.
They have them
they do.
at Publix. They have them at Whole Foods. Okay, I'm sorry. They have empanadas at Whole Foods, and you're going to tell me you don't know what an empanada is.
Okay. They looked at it and they're like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want that."
To be fair, if you have never tried an empanada, you're missing out. Try it. But
People are going to argue about the name because we're saying empanada, and there's like 3 other ways to say
exactly. I
it.
was going to say you might not know about the same name. But on the other vein, I've never tried meatloaf. And I feel like
you're not missing anything.
I know, but like it just seemed like
It's gross.
gross from the beginning. But people were like, "You've never had meatloaf?" I was like, "No." Why would I have meatloaf? I did not grow up in the what's that? Who's the Boss show? I didn't grow up there. Like I grew up in the hood.
Tony Danza?
Yeah, Tony. Oh, Tony, I wonder how he's doing.
No, we're not doing that. Even though I said my sister can cook, the one thing she cooked as a kid when she was watching us, because, shout out to older siblings watching their younger siblings when their parents have to work 3 jobs to support us. She made us meatloaf one time with like an egg in it in the center and ketchup. And she was just trying different things. Meatloaf is gross. I don't care what anybody says. You can't argue with me. It's gross. And she made it for us. And I still rag on my sister to this day, Aisha. I rag on you because meatloaf is gross. You made it and it had an egg and ketchup.
Was the egg cooked at least?
She cooked it, and it was gross. And I don't like meatloaf. And obviously, I don't even eat red meat that much anymore.
I'm trying to imagine this. Wait,
it's gross.
When you say egg in the middle,
there's like an egg, like when she sliced it, because you slice meatloaf like a cake.
Yeah.
There's like an egg in the center that you cook. And then you put ketchup on the top.
Did she put
I don't know why she put the egg there.
Yeah, is it hard boiled before?
I don't know. There was an egg.
I don't know.
And I remember there being an egg.
I've never had
an egg. And I think meatloaf is it's literally like it's just a burger, but in a loaf.
A bit like more. It has like a bit more filler in it.
I feel like you would be the meatloaf expert at this table. Yeah. Can you tell me what's a meatloaf?
So it's a bit more filler. So like it has more crumbs than you would have in like a burger.
Oh, like breadcrumbs, like
panko
so like breadcrumbs?
Exactly, yeah. So that's why it's a loaf technically.
Oh.
So like the same way you cook it is like typically in like that like container similar to like a bread.
Sounds
so
gross.
I warm it in the bottom of my oven.
No. Because you need to cook it.
I don't want this.
And then the top it's supposed to be like a ketchup sauce. It's not supposed to be straight ketchup, which a lot of people get wrong. They just like throw ketchup. Exactly.
Like some Heinz
It's supposed to be like ketchup mixed with like Worcestershire sauce and like other things like that. So like it has a little bit more to it.
I don't. Can we talk about different food? Because this is gross.
Well, I wanted to go back to the rice.
Okay, let's go back to the rice.
Because obviously arroz con gandules, right? That's the special rice.
Can we translate that?
Or like
for the people listening?
Or like congri, you know?
All right.
Well, congri is a little different than
but that's like that hits.
Translate.
Let's go.
Arroz con gandules is like
it's the rice and was it pigeon peas, right?
Pigeon peas. That's the OG rice.
But the thing is, like, it's also got like coconut flavor infused into it, and like it's a lot of good stuff, and like usually like little pieces of ham sometimes in there. Yeah. So like it's a special rice. Like anytime we have a special occasion, my mom's like offering it.
Yeah.
Like we got fucking engaged. We had an engagement party. She's like, I'm gonna make arroz con gandules. I'm like, all right, fine.
And it's always like, no. and that's where you get the large containers of rice. That's why we cook too much.
Yep.
Because it's always we're cooking for special occasions, and every time we cook, and this is gonna sound like real bad, is a special occasion because you never know. Because we're always sick, somebody's always dying, because we're not very healthy traditionally. So we're always celebrating, or we're always, cooking for a funeral or a wedding, or like somebody's, a quinceañera.
I was about to say, there's a lot of celebrations we drink.
We celebrate all the time.
Like, we've got to find reasons.
We celebrate everything.
Yeah. You won first grade? Yay! Oh, you got out of jail? Yay!
Well, the reason I was
why are you gonna bring up my 2008, bro? The
reason I was bringing up the rice is because obviously, like. Dating, I've dated quite a few white girls and had holidays with them, and I was very confused a lot of times in those early years when they didn't have that rice.
Yeah, it don't make sense to me.
Yeah, like it was like picturesque, like Thanksgiving stuff, but at the same time it was bland as shit.
Like when you think of like all American Thanksgiving,
it did make it very easy to decide what we were bringing to my friend's house during the holidays.
100%, yeah.
I love you, Ravik. But whenever we had to decide, what are we bringing? I was like, what would they not make? All right, we're going to make rice. Yeah. We're going to make this. All right, we're going to make this.
Yeah, it was like always two things. It was either I was going to make the arroz con gandule or I was going to get the pendin. One of those two.
Oh, man.
Shouts to Pendin for always being there for us.
Shout out to Caribbean food.
Shout to all foods. I'm fat. I'm not really picky, but yes, Caribbean food.
Nah, I'm going to say this. Fuck potato salad. Like, I can't eat that.
I've never had potato salad.
See, my mom makes potato salad, so I enjoy it. She makes her own. Like, she does her own twist.
See,
it's not like a southern.
Yeah, I would try that out of respect, and I'd probably enjoy it. But in general, I've had people make it for me, and I eat it out of respect, especially if it's an elder of mine. Yeah. But in general, like I see potato salad.
And you throw it in the trash?
You throw it in the trash.
It's to be fair, like my favorite potato salad to this day is a recipe I found. It was a sweet potato salad with a mustard vinaigrette.
Okay.
That was good.
That's interesting.
The hell?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know how. Okay. A couple things I need to tell. How John did the respectfully fuck you by saying, I'm going to eat your potato salad out of respect. but fuck potato salad. That shit's always comical.
That means I respect you a lot enough that I'm gonna try your food
No,
because I
get
respect
it.
you. Like
100%
like,
understood that.
Obviously,
I'm not mad at
a
it.
lot of us know Sherry. If Sherry were to make me potato salad, I would eat it because
I
she
would try
is
it
one
if
of the
there's no
best
dairy.
chefs, best cooks that I know. Out of respect, and it's probably gonna be tasty as heck. Right, I'm gonna love it.
You
But
can
in
open it, man.
but in general,
I don't know. Half the time when I see potato
Mayo.
salad,
But it's like-
mayo based.
it's
but I
mayo
don't-
based.
But I where you get motherfuckers love putting cream and everything and random cheese and shit.
No. Oh my
Queen.
god. So speaking,
You see what I'm saying? But you understand what I'm getting at, though.
this is like completely separate here.
Okay.
Still kind of heritage because speaking with Sherry, she went to a event where she was eating salsa,
This one, yes, I know which one.
red salsa, right? She was eating it, and someone's like, "Oh my god, this is delicious! What did you do with this salsa?" This person took equal parts of red salsa, just like from the jar, right? And then an equal amount of peanut butter and blended it together.
Sherry has a peanut allergy.
Yes.
Why would you put that in salsa? Apparently,
Yes.
it's to make it less spicy.
Yes.
What in the ever fuck? Did that person go to jail?
They should
Sh-
have.
Sherry's okay,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah. Apparently, she might actually not be allergic to peanuts because of that.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, that is a fuck
But why
way
would
to
you?
find out.
Why would you do that?
That is a horrible mixture.
Salsa's
The funny
good by
thing is, like,
itself.
when I heard that, I'm like thinking, like, were they trying to do like a peanut sauce, like something like Thai or something? Like, no, they took red fucking salsa and added peanut butter to it, so they definitely weren't doing that. This is one of those crazy, like,
How the fuck does that happen?
I don't know. And we were talking about like other weird food shit at that point as well.
I guess I'm a follow
That's a bastard.
Yeah. So
there.
rice is weird at Thanksgiving, but peanut butter and salsa is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I got a lot of things to unpack there. First of all, if I ever go to a party and you fucking put peanut butter in my salsa, I'm throwing hands.
Oh,
immediately.
100%. We're fighting.
I'm not even allergic to peanuts, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight you.
It's not about the allergy to that part.
It's a disrespect
Exactly.
to salsa and to peanut butter, both individually. Like they stop it. If you are at home right now thinking about, I wonder what that tastes like. Stop it. Don't. Please don't.
Go eat your potato salad and your meatloaf and don't talk to me.
Stop it. All right. So the weird thing, a couple weird things, easy peasy for me at least, was everyone's my tia, my aunt and uncle. Like my mom had me convinced that the whole fucking building was my cousin, my aunt, my uncles, and then later on, I don't know these people. None of them are related to me. So this whole my whole life, I have tia Belki. I've thought she was my aunt. We're related. Her kids are my cousins, and I find out we don't fucking know each other from a fucking bag of sand on the ground, and it just threw me off.
You just
'Cause
live next to each other.
we just live close enough to each other. It's like, that's your aunt. Why can't that just be my neighbor? Like, why did I have to make them family? Like, like as Americans, you're like, that's like my brother. It's like, all right, cool, we get it. But when you literally tell me that's my family, my blood relative, I'm like, all right, cool. I go around thinking I have 182 cousins.
Yeah.
And then when people are like, yeah, Hispanics have random, huge families, I was like, my whole block apparently is related to me.
I mean, to be fair, I do have a stupid, huge family.
Yeah, and I don't need just my next door neighbor adding to that number. Okay, like Norby has a wonderful daughter. That's my niece. I tell people that's my niece, and then I realize that's a Hispanic person in me just claiming that.
Well,
as my
no, we
family.
tell her like everyone when they're coming over, it's like your uncles are coming over, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
But it translates because of the Hispanic culture. But it's not normal when I tell people, it's like, oh, that's my cousin. It's like, you're related to them? It's like, well, no, really. Like, you have to kind of break it down. People are like, so they're just a friend? It was like, fuck you. Fuck you, all right? They're like, they're like family. Don't fucking judge me. And the couple of the things that I thought were really random growing up was we talked about latchkey kids a lot because of the hood and all this stuff. But to anyone who doesn't know, the term latchkey is basically your mom's not home, your dad's not home, you go home, you lock every fucking door that you can, don't answer it, you're home by yourself because childcare is fucking expensive. I spent the bulk of my childhood, loved my mother. She busted her ass, worked her ass off, thinking it was completely normal that a fucking 8-year-old was at home doing his homework, then playing video games and putting himself to bed. And
You just unlocked a core memory for me.
right? So I thought it was completely normal, and I thought that was just whatever. And it's not that she was doing a bad job. It wasn't like an aunt wouldn't pop up and they would have keys. Never that. Like, I would get fed. Doña Marta hooked it up. Love that woman.
see, I had the same thing where like after school, I would go over to Doña Carmen's, right? She was literally our back door neighbor, Like I would literally go there. We had a fence, but we had a gate between us as well. And like it was the same situation. I would just go there, hang out until I was ready to go home.
Yeah, I would put myself to bed. My mom would come home at I don't know what fucking time because I'm way too old to remember that. And I just thought it was normal. And people was like, "You were home by yourself?" And like, yeah, what the fuck? And I realized it did make me a much more responsible adult because I'm like, yeah, you don't do that. There's rules. There's a fucking ingrained rules in my system, in my head.
Yeah, but then you were forced to grow up faster than what you should have.
Yeah. No, we talk.
I did the same thing. My mom worked a mile from where we lived when I was in middle school and would leave me home alone. Mm-hmm. I would lock everything. There was a local video store across the street that I was allowed to cross the street to go to and get movies and play video games. And I would sit at the house by myself while my siblings were watched by their grandparents. And I would sit at home by myself, lock all the doors. And at that point, we lived in a kind of safer neighborhood, but I still wasn't allowed to go outside. And it was very interesting. So I didn't even, the term...
Latchkey?
Yeah, it actually makes sense because I locked everything and I was like super paranoid. And my mom would come home for lunch or she would call me and she literally was 1 mile. I could just walk there if I needed anything. And I thought that was normal. And then people are like, you can't leave a kid in middle school home alone. So, when I would work in retail and an employee would say, hey, I got to watch my kid, they're 12. I'm like, they could watch themselves. And I'm like, oh, wait.
That's not normal.
That's not normal. And they shouldn't be watching themselves. And I need to be more understanding of that because that's not safe.
It's not normal. Two, to your point, we can unpack that little childhood trauma where it's like, I've had to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, kind of grew up a lot faster than I needed to. Whatever. It's childhood's overrated, I guess. We'll get there. Hey, we're not drunk enough for that conversation. But it made it like, to me, to your point, I just knew how to exist. I knew how to take care of myself. I knew what to do. But when I tell my friends that, they're like, wait, you didn't have a babysitter? I was like, I have no fucking a babysitter. You want me to have a stranger in my house? No, that's not how it works. We don't have strangers in the house. That's how people touch you in the wrong places. And like, what? I was like, that's one of the core fucking fears that was embedded in my head because it was the rule system.
Wow.
Fucking old school Hispanic family will teach you this is the rules because this is the ultimate fear that could happen. And it traumatizes you.
You can't go to their house unless I know their parents.
Yep.
Yes.
And if their random uncle from like New Jersey's visiting, you're not allowed there because you don't know what the fuck will happen because tú no sabe. And it would fucking, that just was in my head to the point where that was normal. When I tell people that, it's like, that's not okay. That's not cool. That's fine. It's fine. Just rub some dirt in it. And the funny one, which I think we will all agree with, cross cultures, but especially Hispanics. Why was our fucking music so dirty? My mom would turn on blasting Suavemente or some crazy Latin music and just clean the whole house. And I'm like, I don't know, we're dancing, having fun, blah, blah. When I get older and you read these fucking lyrics.
Oh, 100%,
about, I like you, sweet flower. I can't wait to fucking take your virginity and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I was 7. Why are you playing this? What are you doing? And meanwhile, nowadays, people like Cardi B's dirty, blah, blah, blah. I was like, they were talking about straight up fucking.
Yep.
While we were at quinceañera.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if that's only like Hispanic culture,
but
right?
I'm saying, I think everyone, when we get older, we realize, let's get it on.
Yeah. Well, then like that one Christmas song also.
Which one? The racist one?
Or was it Christmas? I don't remember. It was like, it's cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah, that one, like, super rapey vibes.
Outside.
Yes.
Yeah. It's music, at least for me, the reason why it stood out to me is any road trips. And it always seemed like it melded together. Frank Reyes, Eric something.
Oh, yeah, the Frankie Ruiz song? I was just looking that up.
Yeah.
That's the song right there.
All those random fucking songs. It was like you sing along to them, and then when you get older and you break down what these words mean, you're like,
yes.
Oh my God, every song my mom was singing along to was about fucking. And not that I imagine my mom was a virgin, obviously I existed, but I was like, why were we comfortable with my mom singing about fucking as she's like putting Fabuloso on the ground?
Because they're ballads.
Yeah, but
because they're singing them, not because they're rapping them.
Oh, true, yeah.
It's a ballad, and they have like a nice guitar riff.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a ballad, you wouldn't be listening to it.
But exactly. But when I got older, I'm like, this is why Hispanics are growing in population so fast, because we can't even mop without thinking about fucking, and it's just fucking ridiculous. That was the thing, when I told my friends, these are the songs I listen to, and then when I break them down and think about reggaeton now, it's like, this is really dirty. I was like, is it though?
It's always been dirty.
It's always been
Our music has always been expressive of our culture and how like touchy we are and a non in a non-creepy way, right? Like we kiss and hug a lot, which
because
to
tú nunca
me,
sabe, so.
yeah, which to me, like I always felt weird, like kissing and hugging, like
That's a one.
Yeah. Well,
That's
it's that
thing.
personal bubble, right?
yeah. So I think that would be another thing for the culture. Like you got to kiss people. Like it's not consensual if they don't want to. Like if I don't want to kiss my aunt, I shouldn't have to, right?
Bro.
But then they make you do it.
For anyone listening that's not Hispanic, we traditionally, when we greet someone, especially as a child, especially someone older, you go hug and kiss them.
Bendición. Kiss, hug.
Basically, like, hey,
Like-
I worship you.
Yeah.
Hug, kiss. That's what basically it's trying to say. Like, hey,
Pues es bendición.
I honor you. I honor
Yeah.
you. Not worship. I honor you.
Yeah.
And this is normal in every fucking greeting. So then when we get older, every time we come into a house, we have to hug and kiss every fucking person we walk by, regardless if you know them or not. There are straight up strangers. Hey, ¿cómo está? Why? I don't know you.
I think I saw you 2 years ago. Here's a kiss.
And they're very friendly. And then if you date somebody out of the culture and they see that for the first time, they get a little jealous. They're like, who's that girl that kissed you and hugged you? I'm like, that's my quote unquote cousin that I've known for 20 years. And you find out she's not your cousin, right?
Yeah.
And she's like a 10 out of 10. And the girl you're dating is a 7 out of 10. And she should be jealous because she's hot.
Do you swap seats at that point?
Wait,
that
what?
doesn't mean no.
Excuse me?
We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
All right, but that is one of like the last. What were you gonna say, Nobri?
Oh no, I was just like, because again, it comes down to that like that personal bubble thing,
Yeah.
right? Where like our personal bubble, people tend to see like as very small.
Oh, they'll be in your face, and
Oh,
it
100%.
always made me uncomfortable. So then when I had like non-Hispanic friends, and I would talk to them super close, they're like, "Yo, bro, why are you so close
Yeah.
to me?" I'm like, I don't see this as a problem.
No.
They're
Yeah,
like,
this
"You're,
is
you're
not
way too
problematic."
close," or
Yeah.
like I would like hug my boys, and they're like, "Yo, like chill out." I'm like, "Bro, it's fine. Like it's all good." And they would really like get weird about it. And it was always like, and then when you work like in a professional atmosphere too, like people still do it, but then you got to like really watch it.
Yes.
So I try not to do it, and then people get offended. Like, why didn't you give me a kiss or a hug? I'm like, we are at work.
I was at a meeting the other day, and one of my Hispanic peers, like someone I respect, she's like, she said in Spanish, so no one would understand. She's like, "Did we sleep together the other night?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "That you didn't even like hug and kiss me when you came by." I'm like, "What the fuck? We're about to meet our boss's boss. You want to hug and come here?"
But they don't mean anything by it. It's just a joke. But it's like we are in the same culture. You should be able to like be that close to me. But I'm like at the same time, like I didn't consent to that. I don't want to do that. But it's like,
but then in a professional atmosphere, to this point, anyone from the outside looking in, I mean, I shouldn't change who I am for you, right?
100%.
But
Yeah.
if we're in a professional business culture, like
They don't get that.
they don't understand that at all, and it could be seen as problematic to them from their perspective.
100%.
So, do you honestly? This is now just for the sake of conversation. Do I not hug and kiss the person I've always hugged and kissed because my boss's boss is in the room, or do I go about my normal shit and hey, motherfucker, you have to adjust?
So I think like I really think about it, and I try not to do it. And then it's awkward, and then I would get like a conversation like you just said, and then they're like, "Well, John's a jerk." I'm like, I don't want an HR call
Yeah.
Yeah.
because somebody not understanding our culture and then explaining our culture during Hispanic Heritage Month. Like, should I put that like in an email? Like, hey, by the way, Hispanic people, we kiss and hug each other when we greet, and it's not sexual. It's what we do, even though we're just talking about how it's not necessarily consensual and how it's in our personal bubble and in our space, and it's a little much sometimes.
But there are layers to it. The newer generation might not necessarily want to follow that culture.
Which
the
Well,
newer
true,
generation is also the same people's like, just because you're my family member doesn't mean I have to fucking excuse your bad behavior.
I love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like
I love that.
they're like, but there's a lot of growth. So do like the traditional traditions, which all three of us have always wanted to break away from tradition. The shit I drink is trying to purposely shy away from traditions or get away from traditions. Like, do we embrace who we are to prove a point to the people who aren't used to it at our like the tradition? Like be the little rebellious, like we do this in our, or say, hey, look, my generation, me, kind of agrees with you. I don't want to fuck. I don't want to hug and kiss everyone I see. Like there's I want to show you what the fuck our culture is about and make you accept it, or do I like, hey, I've already kind of assimilated because to an extent I have. And you're right, we shouldn't do this in a professional setting. Which one's important to you, Norby? Because
I was gonna say, like for me, like I don't have the same quagmire that you guys are going into.
oh, you work from home.
Well, no, it's not even that. Even like in the industry itself that I'm in, like I'm usually the only Hispanic there to begin with in the immediate vicinity.
That makes sense.
So like I haven't had that issue of like how should I react against this person versus like everyone was like I haven't had that issue, so I can't.
Do you find yourself when you meet other Hispanic people outside of your normal household having to still feel forced to hug and kiss?
So it depends on the situation I'm in. I feel like
so. Your
say,
sister
like,
invites you to a Thanksgiving party.
exactly.
It's a house full of people from Poinciana, and they're all just like, "Hey!"
If
you
it's
don't
more
know any
personal,
of them. You know not a fucking one. Do you?
If it's more personal, yes. If in a more personal setting, that's fine. I'll go with it.
That's different.
Hug, kiss, like say my greetings and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, like in a more business kind of setting, I've not had to have that situation come up.
Which would you do if you were faced with that situation? Would you say, "Fuck yeah, this is my culture," or would you say, "Yeah, this isn't professional. You're right, Jacob"?
Is it predominantly Hispanic people in the business, or is it a mixed
half and
bag?
Half and half. The boss is not Hispanic. Not gonna label him, but you know he's not Hispanic.
So for me, it depends on if I've had any kind of like precedent of that being done before. If there was a situation prior to that I've done that in, yes, I will do it.
So you're not going to change who you are because of who's in the room.
Correct.
That's fair. That's not the crux of it. Is what like you're not going to change yourself for who's in the room.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, like I don't want it to be a situation where like again, like I'm also having to read the room person by person kind of situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If Consuela reaches out and reaches out with a handshake, you're like, oh, she's not about this right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
John, how would you feel about it?
So
Consuela goes for a hug.
So a few weeks ago, we went to that. We did a Latino event where me and Arthur helped, Latin and Hispanic teens, do mock interviews and stuff like that. Right. I think in that environment, it's okay because everybody in that group is Hispanic and Latinx. I just try to read the room because John, I'm always my authentic self, which is a good and a bad thing for me.
HR has been called.
Yeah, I also like want to push it to the man and to the system and tell them to fuck themselves, but at the same time, like I don't want people to think that I did anything with them, and I've always prided myself in that no one can ever say that like John was a creep. That's never going to happen.
Feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I sometimes will make it uncomfortable of not giving a kiss and a hug to a Hispanic person or a Latin person for that reason.
Yeah.
Because, and this is going to sound very like super douchey, and I don't care. I'm an attractive guy, right? So like, I already got a target on my back already. So they're like, oh, John slept with that person. No, I didn't, because I kissed and I hugged them. Like I don't do that. So it depends. There's some, if they're older, I tend to do it. Like a respect. If somebody, it could be like my mom's age or like my grandma's age, I tend to do it.
So,
but if it's somebody like younger than me or my age, it really depends on the context.
I'm going to break down the room. You walk into the room. There you have 14 of your peers. Mm-hmm. Half are Hispanic, and you've worked with them before. You've always hugged and kissed them at any of your event. The other half are newcomers. You've realigned the business a little bit, and everyone's new.
So I know half the people there?
You know half the people there. So the other half, the new 7, non-Hispanic or Hispanic, just don't know you. Have had zero history.
I'm probably going to do it to
at the front of your room is your brand new boss and his boss. Mm-hmm. This is an introduction meeting,
and they're not They're not in the culture.
They're not in the culture. You don't know either one of them.
But I know these other people, and I've known them for years.
Half of the room.
Okay, I'm more than likely going to do it to keep those people on my side and let them know that, like, oh, so John knows these people, and he is comfortable with people, and they trust him, right?
Okay,
and they can still trust me because we don't know this person. They're an outsider. Yeah. They're an outsider to our culture and an outsider, period, to our group. So
it shows that connection.
Yeah, so I'll do it for them for the connection and out of spite.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a spite there.
Yeah, little spite.
Yeah, it's like that special handshake.
100% special handshake. That homie handshake, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was the Jordan Peele, Key and Peele skit.
Obama skit?
Yeah, Obama. Yeah. Like, so I shook hands. Like, we talking? Like, the people I noticed, I was just like, hey, like what? Like this.
Play handshake.
That handshake, or like hey, our fist bump, or like hey, away from a distance because I don't fuck with you. Like oh hey, I did that around the room, and someone noticed. Someone was like, "Oh, you just have a different handshake for everyone." I was like, "Different levels of comfort, bro." Like I didn't even hesitate. I was like, "Different levels of comfort." Who I don't know. Who I do, I do. Like that's just what it is.
Makes sense.
And they're like, okay, I respect that. Like, I didn't even hesitate. I was just like, yeah, like, it was just genuinely, I have a different rapport with each person.
Yep.
And you should be treated as an individual, not someone like as
100%,
blanketly.
yeah.
That's fair.
Well, so yeah, like I know in one of my previous companies, right? Like there was one person I was close with, Dominican guy. Like every time I saw him in like one of the company events, like yeah, we do a little like homie hug, right? Like that, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do
But it felt good though, right?
Yeah.
You got somebody there that understands you
Yeah.
and can be like, hey, yo, this food's trash. Hey, like, yo, they got hella potato salad and meatloaf.
Are we good?
They don't even have meat.
They don't even. And you know what's funny? I'm about
if I go to a party right now and someone says this is vegan meatloaf,
I was about to say that. I was about to actually rag on you. It's probably going to be vegan meatloaf, and I'm about vegan alternatives, but I don't like meatloaf, so I don't want vegan
Vegan meatloaf is not going to make it any better. No.
Yeah, it doesn't make it better. It's still trash.
I don't.
We're not going to argue about the vegan stuff.
We're on the side.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do the vegan.
Because we don't agree.
I have no. I want you to know that it's a bit of a bit.
It is a running joke.
It is the running
between
joke
us.
is that I hate everything vegan because it keeps intercepting, like kind of just trying to take over everything I love. Next, I'm gonna find out like vegan bourbon. Get the all bourbon's vegan. I know. I understand. Shut up.
I was about to just really ask you some questions.
Stop.
So
I'm fucking around.
I was gonna say, funny enough, like we went to the meadery around here. One of the things
I love the place.
they have a vegan mead, and I was like very confused on what the hell that meant.
Because it's no animal byproduct.
So no honey?
Products, so no
Honey is an animal byproduct.
Yeah, it's a byproduct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not sure exactly where it's made of, but like we looked it up, and apparently like it can be made from like agave instead of honey.
No. I'm going to a meadery. I want it to be at a fucking. We're not doing this.
Relax.
We're gonna take
That's
a
a
break.
separate podcast.
We're going to take a break real quick, hear from our sponsors. This one is probably from Aurora Fables and Midnight Fables. So check them out. We'll be right back, guys. Thanks.
Sponsor of Bourbon and Bullshit. Prepare for an evening filled with spooky seduction. Join the cast of Midnight Fable Cabaret's upcoming show to celebrate 8 sinfully decadent years of burlesque and all things that go bump in the night. On Friday, October 13th, doors are at 8, shows at 8:30 p.m. Tickets available now at bigbangboomcollective.com/tickets.
All right, guys. And we are back. I know that it's been a long little road with us. Thanks for sticking with us. But we are now going to have the actual just regular pour of Brugal to see how it tastes compared to what a traditional bourbon is, and overall just to see if we can enjoy it. But we've already poured it. Let's see how it is. I will tell you in real time. This is genuinely my first time trying it. The boys are going first, and I'll let Norby start with what he thinks.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
I'm liking it. Like it's hitting.
ooh,
It's like a good middle ground of like I can feel the rum, but I can feel the like bourbon whiskey influence into it.
it's spicier. It's like I like it. That's genuinely what happens with most rums. They're spicier, more like sweeter. You could taste that in there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely rum, like bourbonish.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, like I mean, like typically when you have like that darker rum, it typically is like you said spiced, but it's not like heavily spiced, right? I feel like I'm getting a lot of the barrel flavor in this.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's actually really fucking good.
No, it's actually like, and you know me, I'm not like as versed as you guys are. So just like as a, as an average person that drinks, like this is pretty tasty. If you were to hand me this and say, hey, do you want more of this? I would say yes. It smells good. It's not like a overpowering like taste either when you take a sip, and you definitely just want to sip more. And you guys were making the comments like how it's a little spicier, a little like sweet, just like our culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's very appropriate that we're drinking this right now.
So interestingly enough, just real quick, I'm gonna nerd out just a little bit more. There are cocoa beans in this. Selected cocoa beans, cocoa, whatever it's
Cacao.
Cacao. There we go.
Cacao.
Sounds like Method Man.
Cacao.
Drawing in 5 generations expertise, blah blah. So our cask masters toast the cask with cacao beans inside, infusing the wood with their aromatic properties. The cacao beans are then removed, leaving behind their enticing aromas, and the casks are then prepared to be filled with our exceptional liquid. That's probably why we're getting a little bit of like that sweet, chocolatey kind of taste, but it's fucking good.
No, this is good.
Really fucking good. I mean, not good like front row of Beetlejuice good, but good.
Oh.
Good. So while we're sipping on this, we're going to go over that's bullshit and some crazy stories, either personal or what's going on in the news. And Norby started the last one. So, John, would you grace us with either personal story or some random shit you've seen in the news?
I was going to do personal, but I'll do something random because it's super random, and it kind of goes in line still with the Star Wars stuff. But it's going to go with wrestling, right? So, a lot of our generation, we grew up with Freddie Prinze Jr., right?
Mm-hmm.
Heartthrob. He's married to Sarah Michelle Gellar. They did Scooby Doo. He did all those like scary movies growing up, right? So, did you know that Freddie Prinze Jr. used to write for WWE years ago?
Excuse me?
Yeah, so he used to be a writer for WWE. So Freddie Prinze Jr. is connected in the wrestling community. He has a podcast every week where he talks about wrestling. So for those of you that watch wrestling, there is another company besides WWE called AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and they signed CM Punk a little bit ago. He just got fired from AEW for many reasons for his behavior. And Freddie Prinze Jr. went on his podcast to talk about how he used to write for WWE. He never wrote anything directly for CM Punk. But CM Punk was always a jerk to him. He's like, he didn't need to be a jerk to me. He's like, and Freddie Prinze Jr. had a reputation for being a jerk in the movies that he made. And now when he's older, now he makes it a point not to be a jerk. So he was like, CM Punk didn't need to be a jerk to me, but he went out of his way to be mean to me for no reason. He goes, so he has to take accountability for getting fired. I'm like, wait. So for people that don't know, Freddie Prinze Jr. used to write for wrestling. He's connected into wrestling, and he has a podcast about wrestling. And I'm sitting here thinking, that's the most random thing ever. This guy from Scooby-Doo, this guy that voices characters in Star Wars, that's very versed in Star Wars.
Mass Effect.
And Mass Effect. Yes, Mass Effect 3. He is connected to wrestling. And you would never... to me, that's so random. That's definitely WTF.
Just for everyone else. I mean, I obviously know where he was in Mass Effect, but what was he in Mass Effect again?
I can't remember his character name.
The big Hispanic guy,
yeah, the one that no one
muscle
likes.
guy that had his own anime.
Yeah.
So he was unliked in real life. Unliked in
He was also
Mass
in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, he was the bull guy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So this kid, Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah, 100%. I remember him being a heartthrob. I did not understand. I didn't expect that for all the branching out to be wrestling.
So, voice actor, writer for wrestling. He's actually trying to do his own wrestling company currently as well.
Oh, yeah?
And he has a wrestling podcast. I think it's called Wrestling with Freddie. And he talked about this current situation with CM Punk, who got his shit pushed in UFC when he tried to be a UFC fighter. So cult of personality for those of you.
Yeah.
I do love that he got his shit pushed in.
Yeah, so I think that's like a really random news story, and it's super connected into like the culture because Freddie Prinze Jr. is Hispanic. So I also wanted to bring that in there. And he's married to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so that's very interesting.
So Freddie Prinze, did him and Sarah Michelle Gellar meet in fucking Scooby-Doo, or did they meet before then?
They might have met in Scooby-Doo, or maybe in one of those other scary movies. I know they were in other movies together.
I just wonder. Like, I know that a lot of these actors and actresses, when they meet on screen, is when those romances bud.
Was he in I Know What You Did Last Summer? Right.
He was,
and then she was in there also.
Yes, actually, they met in 1997 while working on I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, because she was the best friend that was like the beauty pageant person, and then he was like the main heartthrob.
Yeah, and then
isn't he always?
And then they voiced characters in Star Wars also. Both
yes.
of them.
That about Sarah Michelle Gellar doing that, I did not know.
And
I
have a picture at a convention with both of them.
Well, I know about that, but because you're big,
light flex.
Light flex. I stood in line. Listen,
paid a lot of money.
I spent money. So that's actually really random. I didn't know that he was heavily into wrestling, or is it just because he's a good writer? Like, I wonder if he wrote other things, or was wrestling a passion? And
I think it was a passion for him, from what I understand of it.
Okay, that's different. Because I can imagine, like, I've seen people become like singer-songwriters that wrote for artists, and like, what was it? I'm going to date myself. Like, Neo used to write for Beyonce and other people when that became his way in. So I was just wondering if Freddie was hoping for dreams and aspirations of wrestling one day because it was a passion, or
he's trying to do his own wrestling company currently.
But I'm saying like become a wrestler. Like,
oh no,
like,
I don't think he was trying to get into wrestling himself.
I'm wondering if when he was a kid, his dream was, I want to become a wrestler. But he was way too pretty and not big enough. So he's like, I'm going to do acting instead. And he's like, what? Now that I have money and expendable income and time, invest in some other shit.
He worked WWE between 2008 and 2009 on the writing team. So, yeah, very interesting.
Interesting, okay. Oh yeah.
during arguably some of the worst time in wrestling.
Yes.
If you know wrestling, then you know that wasn't a good time.
So do we blame him?
Oof. He said he taught a lot of the wrestlers how to act better. So that's very interesting.
Do we thank him for John Cena's success?
We thank John Cena for John Cena's success.
Thank you, John Cena, for everything that you do. All right, Norby, what about you? What's random thing that's news article or anything like that, or a random personal story?
Well, I was going to say, I have two. The first one, we've already touched on, but I actually want to start with the other one that I had on there. Right. I'm pretty sure you guys, you have to have heard this one. So there was the Nebraska man.
Excuse me?
That was pulled over because people were calling 911 because they said that he had a cow in his car.
I saw the picture.
And when the police showed up, it was like a full-on prize bull with like its horns were as wide as the car was.
Yeah. What vehicle was he driving?
I'm gonna try to show you guys the picture.
Custom-made vehicle.
Well, it's not even custom-made. He customized the shit out of that vehicle. Yeah. There's the picture for you to see it.
Oh, that's a real ass bull.
Yeah, no, it's a full-on like bull. Like it was hilarious because like.
Please send me that so I can put it at the show.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious because like you can see the different like angles. He customized the car to like support those bulls' weight. He could like cut half of the car's like interior out for the cool. The bull is just like just standing there. It's just chilling in the car while he's driving.
And what? Why? Why didn't he just fucking get like a trailer?
I don't know. And the thing is,
you said it was a prize-winning bull.
Yeah, and like the thing I don't understand is like it's not like he was trying to go to a show or something like that. It seemed like he was just out and about with the bull.
He was just vibing with his bull?
Yeah. And like the cops like pulled him over, looked at this, and then we're like, you know what? We should write you for quite a few violations here, but we're just going to let you off on a warning as long as you go straight home right now.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is driving with a bull illegal?
There are situations, yes. Especially because, again, looking at the picture, like the bull's horn's like way out to the side.
Is that as wide as what a truck would be?
If the bull is like perfectly centered in the vehicle, the horns would be as wide as the vehicle. Okay. But it's like off to the passenger side of the car already. I'm
asking these questions. I feel like, that same era is like, this is my support duck. Like, is that going to be one of those? Like,
no, not one of those. No.
Okay.
No, but yeah. Oh God, what was the name of the bull? Also, I forgot. Oh God, it was like exactly what you. Howdy Doody. There we go. The name of the bull is Howdy Doody.
You need to stop.
I don't know.
You need to stop.
I don't know how this happens. I don't. If it's okay. I got a couple.
And again, like it was a situation where like it wasn't just like them going to a show. Like they were like 40 miles away from home. Like I don't know what the heck they were doing.
So so that meant that they went 40 miles in one direction without anyone calling anyone.
Yeah.
And people were only concerned on his way back.
No, he wasn't even on his way home. He was on to wherever the hell he was going.
Maybe they were going on a date.
Oh my God.
This is weird.
If I got fucking jokes, if it was an award-winning bull, the awards must have been like an Arby's fucking sandwich because he couldn't afford to get like a trailer. Because like, if it's winning these awards, how are you not running around with a better situation for this fucking bull? And second of all, why? Like, what is it like? I never owned like an animal other than like a dog, cat, hamster, but no one really cares. No one's ever built a personal attachment to a hamster. If you have, has anyone here?
I've never had a hamster, but I think, I mean, you can.
Did you build a personal attachment? Do you call it something? Did you like pet it and have fun?
Yeah. I think it's like any pet.
I think it's like every pet, but
people have had like rabbits and stuff.
But I don't take my hamster for a car ride.
But you've taken your dogs for car rides.
Yeah, that's different.
But to somebody else, it might not be different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Me personally, I've never been.
Yeah, I've never done that.
What I'm understanding from this article is that the bull maybe was like some kind of championship bull. But like the husband
champion,
but like he bought this bull like 8 or 9 years prior to this event, and was just like friends with it.
So like they went to the bar.
This is quotations from his wife,
and like they had drinks.
This is quotations from his wife. He's been friends and buddies ever since.
I appreciate that. Like I wanted to be mad at every step of it. I'm thinking about I want to hang out with my dog as much as I can. If there's an event and I can bring my dog to it, I'm bringing my dog. This man said, I vibe with this bull so much, I want to take it places.
Exactly. Yeah. He literally modified the crap out of his car to allow this bull to come with him.
howdy doody. I can't. I'm so mad. I'm so mad that no one just got him a fucking golden retriever instead. Like, we could have, life could have been so much simpler if you just got him a black lab. So here's your pet instead of a prize-winning fucking bull. I'm not saying that all animals don't deserve respect and love, and you can be friends. I've pet a really cool cow. It's furry. Do you know how
The Highland cows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They fucking have like little afros. Shit's fucking amazing. Like, I think, I understand, but that has to be next level pet love. And I admire that fucking
Respect, but I also don't trust that he doesn't have a weird relationship with this bull, especially from Nebraska.
wow.
And then sidebar: Freddie Prinze voiced James Vega in Mass Effect 3.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to remember that. Thank you for that callback. But no, Howdy Doody and James Vega, great.
Yeah, great job, Chico.
So the story, well, mine's not anywhere near as fucking wild.
Well, you got a second story, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me the second one.
Oh, so the one we were talking about prior to this, obviously. So we're talking about Bobert, Lauren Bobert, getting kicked out of Beetlejuice.
I'm so mad at her.
Yeah, so it was like a local production, traveling around, Beetlejuice showing up in Colorado. She got kicked out of it. Big, buzz happened about it. She was saying like, oh, stuff's being blown out of proportion. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just very excited for the show and being very enthusiastic. And then like, I don't know if it was like today or yesterday, like video dropped of like the security footage in the theater. And yeah, no, there's a lot of us shit going on there. Like they're apparently seated in front of like this pregnant lady. Bobert was just like vaping. Like it was perfectly fine. And the pregnant lady, like, you can even see the lady in the videos, like, can you please stop that? And she's like, screw you, I'm going to vape if I want. And then on top of that, the one thing that was funny that the news channels, like, hinted at, but no one actually, like, said out loud, was they were, like, her and her male companion, as everyone calls it, were groping the shit out of each other during the show as well.
So, if you haven't, like, I was going to actually bring that story up, but if you haven't seen the videos, it is very clear she's vaping. It is very clear that they're taking selfies and doing all these pictures during the middle of the show. Loud and crazy. And I see the obviously pregnant woman, and there's like 2 children near her. So how the seating is, the lady leans over. Hey, can you relax? Like, stop. Like, all this. And then later on in the show, the male companion is groping her breast. Hey, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of doing that in a movie theater, but I'm also not a congresswoman. And in the middle of where everyone could fucking see me. And then it looks like she's obviously stroking him.
Yes.
And as she walks out, she is flipping off security and everyone behind them.
Well, that's the thing is, an usher basically came up to them like multiple times saying like, please stop this or we're going to have to get police involved. And she's like, do it. And they got police involved. And apparently, like after that happened is when she played the "Do you know who I am" card.
Oh my God.
And I think the part that we're really forgetting is that she's not about taking kids to like or having people in drag read books to kids because they groom kids.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm being sarcastic for those of you who don't know me. So she's very anti-LGBTQ when it comes to like drag shows and talk about grooming. But then you're going to be in a public place with kids at a show that was 10 and up. Yep. And you're having somebody grope you and you're groping them. You're being very hypocritical. And you can't argue that point. You can believe whatever you want, but then when you're in public doing those things, you're just being a hypocrite, right? So you think a little kid should see you groping a man's junk or them touching your boobs, and then like she was wearing like this dress and like her boobs were like
barely contained.
Yeah, barely contained, and it doesn't matter. I don't care who you are, right? Like that's not cool, man. Like not cool.
And yes, to your point, that the hypocrisy in it is the fucking major red flag. This giant thing. Not only are you a douche, you're a piece of shit. There's a pregnant woman in front of you. You're being inappropriate in front of children. You're 10 and up. You're vaping. You're doing all these wrong things. For a normal person, it would be wrong. But as a representative and preaching and telling all this stuff, it's like kids are being indoctrinated by... Shut the fuck up. Yep. You're literally doing all the shit that you're telling people to worry about.
Of course.
In front of people. And you're being disrespectful to you said, babies' lives matter. We're not doing that today. But it's just a fucked up situation, man. And it's wild because you don't expect to see that from a congressperson. You expect, hey, a celebrity had some fucking wild shit in a club. Hey, this actor. Hey, this rapper. Hey, this football player.
People, I'm going to say this, people in Congress are celebrities.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
They're celebrities.
Now, they are celebrities. All right, cool. So they're celebrities. I had this question during conversation with some friends. When you have taken the steps to be in the public eye, I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to try to be careful. I'm never usually careful. I'm going to be careful how I say this. You have made the choice. I'm going to be in the public eye. Do you feel bad for that person when now their privacy is no longer theirs? Their personal life is no longer there. Wait, let me get there. There's layers here. I understand, you are allowed, everyone should be allowed some sense of privacy. If I'm in my own home, don't fucking video me. I'm not saying that, but anything you do that would be seen as public, I do not feel bad. Do not feel bad for that person, or you say, hey, look, respect that they're still people, or you say, fuck them. They decided this is the attention they wanted, and this is who they wanted to be. I'm going to hold them to this standard. As much as they want to be idolized, I will also be very, very critical of them. Norby?
I think...
I know it's a tough question because you're thinking about actors you like, people you don't like. In just when I've made the choice to be in the public eye, hell, even this, a small podcast, I'm making the choice that I will see comments that say my voice is awful.
Yeah.
I've made, the content is terrible, as same as I really love this show. I have made that conscious choice.
I would say that, I think there's an expectation of, like, at least in those situations where you could, like, draw the line of it being a private thing, yes, you should definitely have that.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Privacy in my
but
own
like
home.
in public, yeah.
I'm on a family vacation on a private beach. Don't fucking fly a helicopter over.
Yeah.
Yes, understand. I completely agree. I am trying to be private. But if I go to the store and I'm pissed that paparazzi's following me around...
Absolutely. Yeah.
You knew what was going to happen.
It's going to be a situation. Yeah, like it comes with the territory. Like, you're in a public place. Like, all that stuff is allowed. Like, there's not much you can do about it. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're going to try to, like, maybe change stuff up and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I think if you're in a public setting and you're somewhat of a public figure, whether, stardom, politician, or whatever, if you're in the,
small-time podcaster trying to get big.
Well, pretty much, if you're in a situation where you have enough, like, word and, heat being driven to you, like, you're going to expect that stuff to be in your public life, right? And, like, some people, like, lean into it, some people don't. Like, I remember it was, like, a couple weeks ago, there was the picture of, like, a Bieber with Haley. Like, they were just going out to, like, I think, like, get food or something like that. And she's, like, dressed to, like, the tens, like, dress, like, makeup, everything. And he's, like, he looks like he just came out from an alley. Like, sweat shorts, like, a dirty-ass T-shirt. No. And, like, and it's a situation. There's, like, getting out of the van to, like, go get food from somewhere. And it's just hilarious because you see, like, she's, like, presenting herself at all times. And he's like, I don't give a fuck.
John?
Yeah, so... Since we're being very specific of why we're talking about this, I think it is very rude when somebody's just trying to shop for groceries and they take pictures. But in this instance, with what's happening with this specific person, this politician, fuck them, right? So they want to be if you want to be a garbage person and garbage things happen to you, you deserve it. But if you're just like vibing and you're a good person and you're just out shopping and then like TMZ or these paparazzi people are like invading your privacy, that's rude. Right, like, and I do feel bad. Like, you should still have your privacy. And I see why a lot of them like move away from like LA or New York, and they move to like
Greece or
to different countries or smaller towns. I get that. It is so rude, like especially when they have those long zoom cameras, and maybe they're just trying to clap cheeks, like, and they're just trying to be on a yacht with some people, right?
Yeah.
But like, if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm just trying to shop. Right, yep. I'm just trying to get like some vegan stuff. I had to throw it in there because Arthur loves the vegan stuff.
I want to be clear. Eat what you want. Just don't put it in my face, okay? Just do it in front of me. Right?
You sound like some of these politicians that we don't like.
Hey, this is not that kind of show.
But anyway, So I think that's like so like some of these celebrities are so like high up here. they'll just be chilling and they'll just be taking like a million pictures of them. Like imagine like the children of some of these celebrities.
100%.
That's who I feel bad
The
for.
kids didn't sign up
Yeah.
for that. And they're taking all these pictures of these kids. I'm like, yo, first
That
thing,
is
it's a child.
inappropriate.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, you have to think like how much money someone gets off of like the first pictures of this person's firstborn or like kid.
And
yeah.
that's the bigger problem.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, we could fucking go to the deep layers of why is this fucking sought after? Why are we idolizing people and their babies that you don't know? Like, it's just fucking asinine. But no, so I genuinely do take into consideration these people are humans. Like, I've seen NFL players in real life. I've seen them in person and all that stuff. I feel weird even fucking, what is it, fangirling over something. All right, guys, so this episode is coming to an end, but the rest of today's episode will air later on this month. So stay tuned, watch us on socials, and make sure that you're following on every platform you can. Since we are still starting up, there's going to be a little bit of delay with some of the episodes and some of the product, but I promise you I will be doing my best to catch up soon. Please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, donate, do whatever you need to. Send me a bottle of your favorite stuff you want to try, but make sure they leave a 5-star review on every platform possible and give us your feedback. We love your support, and as I said before, be safe, take care of yourselves, each other, and pour something up and share a bottle with a good friend. Thanks guys for tuning in. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Burn Termite and Pest Control. I first met Joe Byrne on Full Frontal Nerdity Show and decided to give his company a try. They have been the best pest service I've ever had, from flexible scheduling, attention to detail, fair pricing, and everything you love about a small business. I highly recommend Joe Byrne and Burn Termite and Pest Control. It's a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience in termite and pest. You can reach Burn Termite and Pest Control at 321-297-7985. Once again, 321-297-7985. And let them know Bourbon and Bullshit sent you. Thanks, guys. See you next time.